the counselors on the video screen, and so they are all here and happy. I see smiles. Great, thank you very much. We have minutes from the July 28th meeting, and do they meet with your approval?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second that.
Second.
I have a motion, a second by Counselor Takis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? I hear no opposition. The motion carries. We have a couple of visitor comments this evening, and Ann Scheck would like to speak this evening. So, Ms. Scheck, you're welcome to the chamber, please. Go ahead and speak from the podium. Good evening and welcome to the City Council.
Thank you very much.
Just a minute, let me make sure that you're on. Can we please make sure that the public comment is unmuted, please? Oh, we got to unmute you. Hold on, Ann. We still have you unmute. All right, Tom's going to take care of that. Yeah, you're okay now. Try again, please.
Good evening, Mayor, City Manager Pessner, and most particularly City Recorder Karen Johnson. I'm here on behalf of my publishing company, Tremart News, and every year since I've had it, I have bestowed at the behest of citizens a special award with a cash donation to someone who is regarded as the best educator in the community. And Ms. Johnson won this year, hands down, if you can call it winning. It's a slow process. It sort of percolates up from public citizenry. And I can tell you that while I initially didn't view her as an educator in the total definition of the word, the more people talked to me about her, the more I realized how wrong I was. And so I myself am honored to give her this award. And in the words of one person who spoke about her, they thought I should convey that she is the most trusted person at City Hall. So I think that's very high praise. So with that, I will give her this Petals and Vines bouquet with the golden lark attached and the donation. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, our next citizen comment is Natasha Cronin. Come on in, Natasha. Good evening. Welcome to City Council.
Thought I came prepared, but I have to balance a little bit here. All right. So good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Natasha Cronin, and my home is located at 389 Monmouth Street. As a naturalized citizen, I feel it's my obligation and responsibility to speak tonight. My naturalization process is riddled with examples of white privilege, and I want to acknowledge that for some, the financial burden and bureaucracy of naturalization makes the opportunity which was afforded to me out of reach for many. My choice to become a United States citizen was intentional, and I hold sacred our ideals of democracy, our right to freedom of speech, and take very serious our obligation to hold free and fair elections. I've lived on 3 different continents, traveled extensively, and have visited almost every state in this glorious country. I mention this because I want to make it clear that I live in independence for a reason. I could have chosen to live anywhere, but I choose to live here. Now, our national politics have become a nightmare. For a long time, racism lived in the dark and in the shadows, unfortunately seen mostly by those affected by the hatred. Recently, the light switch on racism and racist actions was flipped on. And instead of scattering into the shadows, racists have become emboldened and have escalated their ability to spew hate and misinformation. Now, this hatred and misinformation has sneakily wiggled itself into the hearts and minds of some who may not even consider themselves to be racist. Now it seems these ideas of intolerance have come to light in our community. And we have to ask ourselves, do we stand by while hate and misinformation are disseminated through our community? Or do we speak up and call out those who need to open their hearts and minds to what makes this community great? Truth. Truth is the accordance of fact or reality. And we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. This applies to all men and all women of all abilities, regardless of race, gender, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, age, income, or level of education. Freedom. Freedom is not only about the individual, it's about a community and a country as a whole. None of us are absolutely free until everyone is free. Freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. But this right of speech without hindrance or restraint comes with immense responsibility. Your freedom should be used to lift others up, not tear them down. United. Now, agreeing for agreement's sake is very un-American. Our country was founded on debate and differences of opinions. I mean, if we never disagreed, this country would still only permit white people with property to vote. So respectful disagreements are what move our country forward. We are the United States of America, and although we may have vastly different ideas and opinions, the fact remains that we are inherently united through the origins of the founding of this country. The vast majority of Americans did not descend from American Indians, rather from immigrants to this land seeking a better tomorrow. The truth of the matter is that speaking truth and upholding freedom can unite us, and it should. I ask my fellow community members to think critically and deeply and with proven facts about the actions you choose to make and the words you choose to speak. I urge everyone in Independence to complete and submit their census and to vote in November. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Appreciate that. That's all the visitor comments that we have people here today. And so we're going to move on to the next agenda item. So it gets to be to me. And so I'll just report on a couple of things. I had a nice visit recently with Bodie Bimrose and Sandra Schinkel, talking about a number of things in our community, both business and the flavors of things that are going on. I've had a wonderful time the last couple of weeks. Sean Irvine and I, whoops, I should take my mask off when I'm talking. Sean Irvine, yes, I'm not mumbling now. Sean Irvine and I have been able to have the pleasure of handing out some business checks to support some of our local businesses with some of the grant and loan funds from the city, the state, and the federal government. And so that's been really helpful. And I think Mr. Pessimir will talk a little bit about that. Mayor Kuntz of Monmouth and I are setting up meetings with our coordinated care organization to talk about ways to increase mental health services in our community. So we're working on getting a meeting there set up. And I also want to let you know there are a number of organizations that are looking at expanding healthcare options in our two communities. And so several of us have been meeting with those folks and providing information, answering some questions. So those are some of the things that we have going on. Also in your packet tonight, there's a proclamation for Home Inventory Week. This is about preparing. Preparation, as we have discovered through COVID, preparation is very important. And I think we have in September, and I'm looking at Karen Johnson because she does know everything. And remind me what is coming up in September. It's National National Emergency Preparedness Month. And so we'll hear a little bit more about that going on, but part of the first step is preparation. So I'll be signing a proclamation encouraging people to inventory what you have in your house so that you know what your resources have. Not to go on, so I'm going to go to Councillor Hicks for council liaison reports, and I think he has a MyNet report. Councillor Hicks, to you.
Yeah, not a whole lot to report on because, well, we've already talked about it in council, some of the exciting stuff like the getting internet to underserved members of the community. We did, however, have a the committee board change to the new leadership for the board. David Ritchie, the citizen in Monmouth, will be the new president for the MyNet board. And our own Tom Pesmer is going to be the vice president, and Christopher Lopez is the secretary for, he's the city councilor over in Monmouth. Other than that, things are going pretty well, but not too much to report on.
Great, thank you. Let's go to Kathy Martin Willis.
Mayor,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Go
Can I
ahead.
ask a question, Councilor
do.
Hicks? I've asked for the minutes from the MyNet board meetings for some time. I've been asking a couple different people for them. I've even gone on MyNet's website, requested them. Some are out there now, I believe, but it's certainly not all of the minutes. And unless it's my misunderstanding, those are public records, are they not?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will try to locate them for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Councillor Martin Willis, I think you have Parks and Recreation and Planning Commission.
So we'll obviously start with Parks and Rec. Let's see, in August, they were unfortunately canceled due to lack of a quorum. There was no July 16th meeting, so we're going to go clear back to June 16th. I want to applaud our museum director, Carly. She did a great review of some new, well, now newish, I guess, wayfinding signs that have been placed throughout our community that incorporate a lot of our local history on them. So they're a great complement to the placards on the columns down in the plaza. So there's one across from Brew that I've noticed gets a lot of traffic. One at the library, a couple on the way to the sports complexes along the trails. And they give kind of a nice summary of the significance of some of the areas in town. And they're just nice kind of historical markers. So I encourage you to seek those out and take a look at those. They've also been doing a review of city code regarding trees. We've had some residents who are concerned with our current sidewalk code. We mandate that trees go in new subdivisions, but then a few years down the road, we're having issues with sidewalks lifting. So looking at the potential of requiring barriers surrounding those trees so that the roots have to go deep and don't wind up lifting sidewalks and creating expenses for homeowners in the area. So kind of looking at the logistics of making those changes. Obviously, with the subsequent meetings not happening, that hasn't moved forward considerably. So we'll keep you posted on that. So following Parks and Rec is our Planning Commission. Back in June, they started looking at some revisions to the sign code to create some consistency in signage downtown, but basically want to make the code easier to use. Fred has done a really wonderful job with a lot of our codes and creating sort of grid formats so that they're easily readable and more decipherable than standard code. There is a public process for that revision. And so that will come back to the Planning Commission at a later date. They also talked about the transportation plan update that we've actually made significant progress now on. with the online forums and that sort of thing. Commissioners were encouraged to offer the input that they provided at the meeting on the website so it could be incorporated moving forward, and that will go back to the Planning Commission when it reaches the adoption stage. There was no meeting in July, which is pretty consistent across everything in the month of July. August 3rd, some pretty simple stuff. There was an extension that was granted for the Hops Mine subdivision. So it was pretty standard business. It's a 1-year extension on that project. And then they're looking at, again, Fred, he's been amazing with code. We have some redundancy and potential for conflict between our public works standards and the public works section within the development code. So we're actually looking at removing 3 sub-chapters regarding stormwater, cross connections, and sidewalks, taking that out of the development code and just having that code refer directly to the public works standards, just to avoid any updates not happening between the 2 documents. The commissioners were also treated to a virtual tour that Fred took with a camera. I really strongly encourage you to go back and about midway through the video in that meeting, picks up kind of a walking tour, and there are more of those to come. Given current circumstances, they're unable to do actual field trips. So they discussed some neighborhoods that have some sort of a disconnect from the town overall. So the Air Park was mentioned, some areas around 7th Street, and either they don't have a good connection to businesses or to services or recreation. So he's going to be doing some more of those. So if you have a chance to tune into Planning Commission on that first Monday of the month, I think the meetings are going to get a whole lot more interesting and entertaining. So if Fred's out there somewhere, thank you so much for what you're doing and continue to do. And I look forward to exploring more of Independence than I may know is really there. And that's what I have for tonight.
Thanks, Counselor. Any additional questions from anybody? I don't see anybody jumping up, so we're going to move to Mr. Pessimir.
So thank you, Mayor, councilors. Good to be here tonight. I do have a number of things to talk about, and I didn't organize them like I normally do, so it's going to be kind of the city manager potpourri report tonight. But just wanted to start off mentioning Lot 7. We had really hoped to have that on the agenda for tonight, but we ran into some issues with the noticing, didn't get it noticed. It has to be noticed 1 week prior to the meeting, and so and we had a few just little things to finish up on the documents, but everything's done now. We'll get the notice out next week to make sure that we're in advance of the week for the first meeting in September, and that will be coming before you and the URA board as well. So really excited to get that done and get it before you for your guys to consider and decide how you want to what you want to do with that lot. The city is working with some partners on 2 different COVID testing events. I think everybody knows that COVID testing has been a little bit shy in this area. And so next week, or actually later this week on Wednesday, there's going to be a testing for farm workers. That's going to be something that we've worked with in order to make sure that that is organized. That's going to be at Colonial Amistad tomorrow, and that will be an opportunity to have some testing there. There's also going to be some testing that's open just to the general public in general and for all residents. So there's more to follow on that. Those dates haven't been quite locked down, but we expect that to be on a Saturday in September. It'll be at the Independence Sports Park, so keep an eye out for that. So people who haven't had the opportunity to get a COVID test may need it for some reason, whether it's for schooling or for others purposes, can get that testing completed. We have been working on a number of different business support items. One of those is to create a technical assistance program for local businesses. We did go after a grant for that, and we found out last week that we were not successful in that, but that's not going to deter us. We're still going to use some of the CARES fund money for that, and we are still working on getting that up and running. We hope to have something in early September running on that. We've made a lot of progress. We were just hoping that it would be a more expensive project than it is, but we'll still be trying to find other opportunities to fund portion of that. We think that helping our businesses to learn more about how to run during these challenging times is going to not only be a benefit for them now, but down the road during the recovery and beyond. So we have, as you know, been giving out business grant and loan programs. We've done a couple of rounds of that. We are almost through what we consider the second round of that program. We have just a couple more to give out. There will be more opportunities coming online. There is still an opportunity through the Willamette Valley Council of Governments, who has a similar program out there now. And then there is going to be another program coming up in mid-September that will not have the same restrictions that the current round does, where businesses who took payroll protection program or other federally funded opportunities, they will be eligible actually to do that. So we are excited to continue that, and we will continue to market that and make sure people know. One of the great things that this program has allowed us to do is to go to businesses and actually hand them a check. And I know that the mayor has done a lot of that, potentially going out and handing that out. And I think he's showing you some love that came back our way for doing that. Some people definitely spent a lot of time putting together something. Mayor, do you want to describe that a little more precisely?
It's very colorful. It's very nice. It was done by a local daycare, and the folks were absolutely were thrilled. So just want you to see it. It's just the kind of example, and we've received several letters that have said, thank you very much. People are very appreciative for the help. It makes a real difference. It also talks about the independent spirit that we have. So it's taken a lot of work by staff, connecting up with lots of things, and we've all had a hand in it. And so you folks have helped make this happen. The state has helped, the feds have helped, staff has helped, and it's working. So good on everybody. Back to you, Mr. Pesmer.
So continuing on, Thursday is the last drive-in movie. It's going to be Hook, is the movie. I actually had the pleasure of staffing the event a couple of weeks ago, and I can't tell you how uplifting it was for me to just watch all the enthusiasms and the happy faces for people who could come and do something that they haven't been able to do during this period of time. And so it was, I think, a great event and certainly well attended. And I think it's something that we will consider for the future. Courtney Williams did a great amount of work on that, came up with the idea and basically spearheaded getting it going. She's also working with the Independence Downtown Association to reimagine some of our other fall events, like the Hop and Heritage, the Ghost Walk, and the Trick or Treat downtown. Obviously, we still have to keep COVID in mind and all the guidance. But if we get creative and we think hard enough on it, we can find ways to still let people participate and have fun. It might be different, but at the same time, those positive releases are very welcome, I think, and we appreciate doing them too. So I think you have probably heard that there have been some art and cultural grant opportunities out there. And so we have taken a look at those. There is certainly monies that are going to be distributed in Polk County, and those monies are going to be distributed, I think, far and wide. And so we put some really modest grant opportunity requests in just to cover a little bit of our costs on the movies in the park. as well as some of the Independence Days costs. But they were really very small compared to the amount of money that's out there. We believe it's important that those arts organizations have a real opportunity to try to plug some of the gaps that they've had in their funding source streams throughout this time, which is for many of those organizations has been huge. So we're tracking that. I just wanted to give you an update on that. We have started a sidewalk restoration pilot project. A number of years ago, we worked, I think was with Halo at the time, to do some sidewalk restoration for different areas. We have partnered up with the Community Services Consortium to do a fair amount of the actual labor to lower the costs for residents who take advantage of this program. We're not going to do a whole lot of this year. This is going to kind of be a learning year for us to figure out how to do that. But there are a lot of different things that come together on this, including teaching students how to have some life skills and get some experience and things, and hopefully leverage that into a job or a trade or something they could do if it's something they like. So Allied Drilling and Concrete is going to be doing the work, but they're also going to be doing a lot of the training and making sure that the students get the training and the opportunity to figure out how to do that. Willamette Workforce Partners also assists in that just with promotion, and then making sure that they advertise the skills that the students get. So it's something there'll be a lot more information that comes up. We're going to probably start with projects that have code compliance issues to make sure that we're trying to get those projects moved forward. But certainly this was a very popular project a number of years ago, and we're excited to get it started up again, and we'll put a lot more information out there, but I want to kind of give you a heads up that that's coming down the road, and we're really glad about the partnerships that we're doing. We talked at the last council meeting about upcoming utility billing shutoffs. So that's shutting off water because bills hadn't been paid. As you know, that we delayed shutoffs for a long period of time. We delayed late fees, or actually we eliminated late fees for a number of months. And we felt it important to get on track, but we also felt it was important to do it in a compassionate way and a way that made sense and got everybody on track. So I'm just going to kind of walk through some numbers. Just a week ago from today, we actually had 82 hangers for water shutoff notices. That's actually less than we normally would have on a month in August. I think that people are probably just home more and they're paying their bills. We certainly didn't get I was just too busy to do it here recently. So that may be the reason for the less number. But we certainly had, some significant concerns about people who are in a distressed position or have not gotten their unemployment checks. And so appreciated your comments on that. After we had the 82, we went out and made field calls and made every possible attempt to get a hold of everyone, as well as to make arrangements for payments and to assist renters. We gave out resource guides to people for not only for water and sewer utilities, but also for power and other type of utilities. So we did a great job of promoting. I know those were things that I heard from council that you wanted us to do, and really appreciated those comments, and we took those to heart. By Wednesday afternoon, we were down to 25 shutoffs. So we made another really hard push, including going out to the visit properties and making sure that we could. And then by Thursday, thanks to some generous donations, we only had one business that was eligible to shut off, 2 rental properties that appeared to be abandoned, and 1 home that someone was out of town and was in a state. So we ended up really not shutting off any water utilities. I want to thank staff for being compassionate and doing going way above and beyond to make sure that we were able to assist people, to give them information, and to help them to make sure that their very, very important utilities stayed on during this period of time. So it was a lot of work, but it was well worth it. And we're glad that we know a lot more. We still have a lot more work to do, but this isn't the end of it. We certainly have used this information to figure out how we can create programs to assist people who are going to continue to need help for a significant period of time. And so we're still looking at ways to get our CARES money put towards that, as well as leveraging other organizations that are doing that as well. So a couple other things. This is something unusual I don't normally talk about, but I think given the times, it's probably fitting. And it is kind of just an advertisement for Cabinet Works Group. They could use up to 70 employees right now. They have entry-level positions for a lot of people. So they have very low requirements to get in. They're willing to train anyone in order to do that work. We're checking with some of the other employers in the area, but that's a significant number of job opportunities out there. So if you know someone who's looking for something to do, looking for an entry level job and trying to get into something, certainly we can connect them up, or they can just go out to Cabinet Works and get an application. And as long as they meet some very minimal qualifications, they can be working very soon. So we are continuing to update our transportation system plan, and we have opened up the second round of open houses to basically get information. The open house is will close on September 7th, so you'll need to get up and to get onto that. That information is on our website, so you can go to our website and easily get to the transportation system plan. This particular open house is dealing with potential alternatives to address intersection and road concerns, as well as identify problem areas for pedestrians, bicyclists, and transit users. So input is absolutely key to making this work. And as I mentioned in the past, we will make sure that this plan does not get adopted until we feel like we have had sufficient community input into the process.
Tom, can we make sure we get that pushed out on social media? I don't recall seeing it the last time, and maybe we get a few more people.
Yeah, we did push it out, but we will again. We just actually just got the flyers today. Sure. And just got the information organized. So yeah. But we will be happy to push that out.
Okay, great.
Library, just a quick announcement about the library. Curbside library services has been going really well, very well received, and we are really glad that we have been able to open that up. The summer reading series is over, but that went really well as well. It took a lot of staff time in order to make sure that that was being done, and a lot of understanding and patience on people's part, but that went really well. And the next thing they're working on is a story time coming to the parks. So they are going to try to do some story time events that are COVID friendly, that meet all the requirements, but do some things outside while we'll still have some good weather. There may be some other groups that they work with as well, but that's what they're going to do. And then just wanted to give Karen the opportunity to talk a little bit about election stuff. And then if you have any questions for me or staff, please let us know.
Okay. Today was the deadline to have the verified petitions filed with me and for the upcoming general election for the local positions. We have 2 people running in each race. Did you want me to announce who the people are, the candidates are? Those running for mayor are John McCardle and Jack Waddell. Position number 3 is Mike Hicks and Don Hedrick Roden. Position 5 is Sarah Jobe and Kelly McWilliams. And position 6 is Kathy Martin Willis and David Ramcharan. They will also have until this Friday to change their mind. A withdrawal of candidacy will be accepted until 5 o'clock this Friday. And then after that, the ballot will be certified to the county clerk.
So if anybody has questions for Mr. Pessimir from his city manager report?
I do. Going back a little bit here, the sidewalk restoration project, did you say that would be for resident sidewalks or for commercial sidewalks?
Sorry. As far as I know, it will be mostly for residential. I don't think that the commercial component will qualify, but I'll check on that. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. I had one other question for you. Well, thanks. Good work on the water shutoff thing. That's quite positive. I appreciate that quite a bit. Actually, I guess I don't have another question for you. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
That's it.
Others? Okay, we're going to keep moving forward. I think Ms. Butch, I think you get to do the finance report. You're still muted, but welcome to council. You're still muted.
Okay, there we
There you
go.
go. Thank you.
All right. Good evening. I really don't have much to add to my financial report. I'm hoping that you have some questions. I'm really excited about having the intern that I talked about in my report for preparing a PAFR for us, the Popular Annual Financial Report. This has been a goal in our when we do our budget. It's one of the finance department's goals. It's been one for a number of years, and I think that Albany's example is probably it may or may not have been a great example, but it was the one that I could easily find. Ours will probably be even more condensed. More information, but not so broad that it lacks some understanding and everything. So our goal is to make it super understandable and to answer all of those questions that are out there. Other than that, I really don't have anything to add.
I just have one question, Gloria. And first of all, on that PAFR report, I look forward to seeing that, because anything that tries to make a budget simple, I'm happy about.
Yes.
I do have one question on your fourth quarter memo.
Okay.
It talks about the sewer fund and that capital outlay is significantly over budget due to timing of projects and was not anticipated. Everything that we've approved recently, we've said, hey, it's in the budget, it's good to go. What happened in this situation? Can you give me a little bit more detail?
I don't know, other than it was purely timing. They apparently got started on one of the bigger projects right at the end of the year that I hadn't realized that was going to be started. So it was just a timing and an oversight, maybe a little bit of miscommunication between finance and public works.
So Councilor Corr, we'll look into that and get back to you on that question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Okay. Thank you very much for providing a succinct report with lots and lots of pages to look at. We're going to go forward. We have a scheduled public hearing. We have 2 public hearings this evening regarding the closeout of 2 grants. And I'm going to have the city recorder please read the official notice that we have to go through.
The City of Independence is completing a housing rehabilitation project and a micro enterprise project funded with Community Development Block Grant funds from the Oregon Business Development Department. The location of the projects are in Independence and all of Polk County outside of West Salem. It is estimated that the housing rehabilitation project has benefited at least 40 persons, and the microenterprise project has benefited 13 persons, of whom 100% are low or moderate income. A public hearing is being held by the Independence City Council this evening at City Hall, 555 Main Street, Independence, Oregon. The purpose of the hearing is for the City Council to obtain citizen views about the two projects and to take comments about the local government's performance. Written comments are also welcome and must have been received by 4 p.m. today. Both oral and written comments will be reviewed by the council at the public hearing. More information about the Oregon Community Development Block Grant Program and the projects are available for public review at City Hall.
Did we receive any, were there any written comments, Karen?
None received.
None received. Are there any people who wish to speak to this about either of the projects? I don't see anybody jumping up and down. So if without objection, then we'll close the hearing. We've completed the federal requirements. Right? Okay, we can keep moving forward. I think Mr. Cottom is going to talk to us about the F Street Bridge project. Mr. Cottom.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I have an action item for you tonight. Staff is requesting the authority to award the contract for design services for the F Street Bridge project. We've been working on this project since roughly 2005. In 2015, the city started the process for applying for a grant with the State of Oregon Local Agency Fund. That grant was awarded in October 2018. Notice to proceed was given by the state in September of 2019. The city put out an RFP that was advertised in January of 2020. A committee rated those responses and interviewed 3J Consulting and OTAC Engineering. After a competitive process, OTAC was selected to perform the services in the RFP. Staff is bringing forward a contract for services for the F Street Bridge design from OTAC. This bridge has been included in the current capital improvement plan, or CIP. The project is also in the fiscal year 2021 budget. The design proposal does not include approximately 150 feet to the east and west that is not currently budgeted for construction, and we will be looking at that at a later time. The bridge is currently rated for 7 tons, requiring heavy trucks and EMS to detour around the bridge. As the only crossing on South Fork on Ash Creek on the south side of Highway 51, the city has prioritized this project. The contract for design services total with contingency is $420,357.20. And we are recommending that council awards the authority to give OTAC the contract for design.
Questions for the staff? Okay, we've talked about this previously and we're moving forward. This is an action item, and if someone would like to suggest action, that would be appreciated.
Sure. I move to award the contract for design and contingency services to OTAC Engineering for the F Street Bridge project in the amount of $420,357.20 and authorize the city manager or their designee to sign the contract and other related documents.
I have a motion. Second by Councilor Morton. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? I hear no opposition. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move forward. Mr. Pessimir, surplus property. He's looking through his paper, trying to get to the right thing in the notebook. If we have 187 pages, he has all the support documents that go with 187 pages. So anyway,
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for giving me some time to find my place. This is a really simple action request. As we have been going through our code and trying to surplus some property, we noticed a contradiction in the code. It was created a long time ago. Actually, our attorneys, of course, caught it, but we were looking to get rid of some stuff in the museum as well as in the library. And what we noticed was in 2012, we had updated our public contracting rules, but did not notice that it conflicted with the municipal code section 2-434. And essentially, really, the difference is the previous section required that any surplus property be disposed of by auction. And that has gotten to be very problematic. There are not nearly as many auctions out there. The state doesn't do nearly as much as they used to. And quite frankly, we have a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense to be put in an auction anyway. So we're just asking for you to clean up the code by keeping the public contracting rules, which match the state rules, which were adopted in 2012, and eliminate the conflicting section in the municipal code section 2-434.
Questions for staff? If not, this is an ordinance one, so the three motions are in effect. If somebody would like to start that, I would appreciate it.
I'll be happy to. Oh, you go ahead.
Okay, I move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill number 2020-09 in full, as the text is contained in the council packet for the first time.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Hicks. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I hear no opposition. Motion passes.
An ordinance amending Independence Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 6, Lost, Abandoned, Unclaimed Surplus Property, and declaring an effective date.
Second motion, please.
I move to read the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2020-09 for the second time by title only.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Ransom Smith. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed? Hearing no opposition, motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 6, Lost, Abandoned, Unclaimed Surplus Property, and declaring an effective date.
Final one, please.
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2020-09.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Core. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed? I hear no opposition. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
The bill has passed and will be assigned to ordinance number 1583.
If anybody has council announcements, this would be the time to do them.
I have another question, Mayor.
Please.
Tom, this is one I meant to ask you earlier, but I lost it in my notes. Is there a fund in which residents can donate money to help people with water bill issues?
We do not have a specific fund, but the city can take money in at any time. It's the expenditure of funds that we have to track more carefully. We certainly have taken money in the past for people who want to set that up for utility bills, and we set that aside and account for it very carefully. I think this whole process has created a conversation amongst staff as to how we can do some things, not only for just this particular period of time, but for more longer periods of time, and try to, help our neighbor. Certainly we can, and we do, and we have in the past, but it's not a significant amount of money. This was really just some need that was immediate, and some people just stepped up and took care of that, and including some people on staff. So.
Do the people who want to donate money have to earmark it for somebody in particular, or can it just be used for anybody?
It can be used for anybody.
Thank you.
Definitely. Any other announcements?
I have one more question. I'm sorry. In the correspondence section, the memo that Ann Scheck forwarded. Could we have a little bit of a discussion about that? She was issued a no trespass order.
Mr. Pessimer, do you want to make any comment? Because I know we generally don't get involved with issues related to police issues. But-
Yeah, and certainly if we want to get in deeper, the police chief can do anything. I think, you know, I want to make sure it's not a no trespass order. It's just simply a notice to the person that if they do come on the site for a period of time, that they could get a trespass put against them. So it's really just a notification process. It's really between the private party who is the business owner and usually a resident. The police's role in that is just simply to make sure that there's communication back and forth between the two entities. And usually that's very effective. We see this a lot, mostly with some, you know, homeless issues with businesses and with some other people. And this is a program that we do to make sure that there isn't a lack of communication that causes a problem for someone then to end up actually getting a trespass. So really our role is more of a communicator, making sure that there's a clear understanding of what's going on so that people don't accidentally get tripped up.
Is there any consideration given to the fact that she is a member of the press and that she was trying to gather information?
Well, I'm not going to get into specifics of any case. I can kind of explain the program, but certainly I'm not aware of any issues or conversations relative to that.
Okay. Other
Well,
announcements?
I guess I do have one just kind of quick announcement, I guess, because I'm looking at this proclamation of Home Inventory Week and folks being encouraged to sort of inventory their emergency supplies. So I just want to say, after spending 11 years as an insurance agent, that inventory should include everything down to the last string in your sock drawer. And they're actually online. If you just do a Google of home inventory, it's not going to do you a lot of good if your home burns to the ground and your inventory is in that Rubbermaid box in the garage. So there are a number of online options where you can store photos, receipts, warranties, all of that information that your insurance company is going to ask for. So I would recommend looking into that and actually starting with your home insurer. They often have free programs for inventorying your household goods and storing online the documentation for that. So that is my inventory wisdom for the day.
And I learned something new I didn't know. Thank you. Thank you. If there's nothing else, someone could send us to dinner.
Move to adjourn to dinner or elsewhere.
Wherever. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. We're done. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a pleasant evening.